Wow, it has been certainly a long time coming since the last iteration of his web series. My deepest apologies for delaying this episode time and time again. However, we have some pretty neat news to discuss regarding the future of the beloved Nintendo franchise, the Metroid series. Through third parties, executive overseeing, and marketing periods, I believe I have pinned down a date in which a Metroid game will be released. Note that this theory is an educated guess at best. I can understand some skepticism by hearing such a statement, and I can assure you that this conclusion was made with a logical basis. Moving on, I want to explain how I made such a conclusion before I unveil what I gathered from it. As some of you probably already know, is that Nintendo has given a bit of a cold shoulder towards the Metroid series since the release of Metroid Other M back in 2010. From that period beginning in 2010, we can infer that there has been some sort of halt or hiatus of anything Metroid related to be released. After all, it is 2014 and fans have yet to see anything Metroid related to be released. We can conclude that the powers that be in Nintendo wishes change for the Metroid series, and in what direction we do not know. However, the Metroid series is still in the hearts of Nintendo, that is a fact. So what will come of Metroid? In the April 2014, series director Yoshio Sakamoto has stated that he does not intend to return to make another Metroid game, so who will develop a new Metroid title? Sakamoto was, after all, one of the founders of the Metroid series. All other co-founders of the Metroid series, to put it bluntly, is either dead or retired. In summary, the way I see it, there's either two directions Nintendo may take to develop a new Metroid game. One way is Nintendo will develop a game internally using a new staff. The other way is to hand the IP to a third party. Personally, I find that Nintendo will give permission to develop a mainline console Metroid game to a third party. And who better to do this than Retro Studios? And has been noted by producer of the Metroid Prime trilogy, Kensuke Tanabe, stated that Retro has been working on a brand new game for a couple of months since April. We do not know whether or not this new game is Metroid related. However, both Kensuke Tanabe and Retro CEO Michael Kelbaugh has said that they both have great interest within the Metroid franchise. In addition, Shigeru Miyamoto has stated that Retro Studios is capable of developing multiple projects at the same time. So let's analyze the facts. Both the producer and the CEO of a respected franchise has noted and recognized a demand for a new Metroid game. So what does that tell you? It could very well be possible that some talks have commenced between the two in regards to a Metroid game. Moving on to an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto regarding Metroid has revealed some telling new details. I have the strongest hunch that Shinya Takahashi will aid in development of a Metroid game for the Nintendo 3DS. And this is where I get to my theory. I believe that Retro Studios will develop a Metroid game for the Wii U, while another team comprised of Nintendo software planning and development directed by Shinya Takahashi will develop a 3DS Metroid. Both teams will be under supervision of Shigeru Miyamoto. Now, I knew I will be getting some questions. Why Shinya Takahashi? Well, maybe it's just me being overly analytical, but if you would read this article and pay close attention to the interview, it does tease towards a potential Metroid release. For example, listen to this quote. "We have the Prime style of Metroid game and we have the more traditional style of Metroid game. We feel that we do need to take care of both of these styles of play, and the hope is that at some point in the near future we'll be able to share about them." This kind of quote burst forth in the air like a beacon. It really stood out to me as a valid hint of the future of the Metroid series. So based on these inferences, we can deduce the fact that a Metroid game is indeed in development. Also, this may just be me being way too analytical, but pay close attention to the interview. In any kind of interview, whether in trying to find information about a close-knitted subject, you can find always that the interviewees talk in shorter, more scripted intervals when talking about the subject in question. For example, as soon as the mention of Metroid was brought into the subject, both Miyamoto and Takahashi began giving more shortened, more diplomatic answers, such as bringing up how the Prime series compares to the original formula of a 2D Metroid, in addition with a hint of a near reveal. The icing on the proverbial cake, however, is Miyamoto in the very interview has said, and quote, "I think there is still a lot of new things that could be done with the Prime series." So this pretty much reaffirms my particular hypothesis. So in summary, I believe that Retro Studios is developing a console Metroid game for the Wii U, while Nintendo's SPD division headed by Shinya Takahashi will develop a 2D Metroid game for the 3DS. Both teams will be under supervision of Shigeru Miyamoto for support. Now, what about the release dates for these games? Well, the answer may very well be in 2016. It seems to me that Nintendo wants to focus on marketing a AAA title every year. This year seems to be all about Super Smash Bros. 2015 seems to be the year of Zelda Wii U, with the possible release of a Majora's Mask remake. While we're on that subject, there is evidence to make that conclusion, which I will share in another video. But what about 2016? Plenty of Nintendo executives have said that the Wii U is here to stay. So what do they have planned for 2016? However, that inference in itself is not a justifiable conclusion to make. For further evidence, let's look at past development cycles for both the Prime games and the 2D Metroids. Both Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime Hunters, which I believe are more comparable games to today's market, has had a development period of about 2 years. Metroid Prime 3 has had a development period of about 2.5 years, while Metroid Other M has had a development period of 3 years. If we take into consideration that a console Metroid game will more than likely be released in the winter of its respective release year due to marketing benefits, we can deduce a conclusion. And since Kensuke Tanabe has teased a new game to have started development early this year, it is a reasonable conclusion for a console Metroid Wii U game to be released in the winter of 2016. A handheld Metroid game for the 3DS, if it was already in development, can be deduced to be released in 2016. When exactly? My guess is the summer of 2016. In conclusion, not only a Metroid game, but 2 Metroid games are on the horizon, and I for one am ecstatic to see the fruits of Nintendo's labor. So that's my theory. If you like this video, please hit the like button since it really does support me. In addition, this channel produces constant Zelda news, so stick around. I will provide a video dedicated to the possibilities regarding a Majora's Mask remake in the near future. Also, click here to see our weekly podcast series. This podcast series will have guests from other YouTube channels. Special thanks goes to Dark King and Ezekiel for contributing to this episode. If you have any information pertaining to anything Metroid related, comment below with a source and I'll feature your name in next episode. Episode 7 will be released on September 5th. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Till then, this is the video of the day.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the eye.
It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets, trying to consume some skirts for the eve, so I could get some phones. Rolling in my ride, chilling all alone.
Just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. Seen a car full of girls, ain't no need to tweak. All of you skirts know what's up with 213.
So I hooked a left on 21 and Lewis. Some brothers shooting dice, so I said, let's do this. I